are here with Rune Heivang from Norway, a spiritual master, one of the spiritual leaders of the world today, who chose to come to Romania and teach us some things from his experience. Thank you very much, Rune, for accepting this dialogue.
Oh, thank you. It's very nice to be here.
I want to speak a little bit about your story, first of all, before going into your teachings, and share with us what's your story, how you came to discover this spiritual world, and how you chose to start teaching.
Wow, do you want this in 5 minutes?
We have time.
So, of course, I'm coming from Norway. I think my spiritual journey started very early when I was young, and then it was forgotten. I had some experiences that could not be explained, and later I rediscovered meditation. Meditation, especially from the Tibetan tradition. I was also drawn to healing, energy exercises, and I ended up in Andes Mountains in Peru with teachers from there. And after that, I learned energy methods, different ways of meditations, or being in unity with nature. And I also learned from many other places on this planet.
I want to share with the audience that you used to be a business person before starting your journey in spirituality, and you used to be a very down-to-earth and successful person in this world, so to say.
Yeah, that's true. So I almost forgot about that one. It's a long time ago. I was in PR, advertising and design. I started my own small advertising company. It went very well. And after a while I was working a lot, and I got stressed like many other people, and I was trying to find solutions on a deeper level, how I could be happy, because I felt something was missing.
So money and success doesn't necessarily bring happiness, yes?
No, money and success it can bring happiness.
Comfort.
It's comfort, but it doesn't necessarily bring the true happiness, the true success we are looking for, because we always want more, and you always have to maintain what you have or create more of it, and sometimes that's an effort.
I read that rich people have more worries than regular people, because they need to manage all their fortune, and that brings them more stress. And although the idea is that a rich person has more time, they did the research and they have less time, because they are every day challenged by these professional things to get involved. So getting richer and richer is not the way to greater happiness necessarily, or having more time for yourself.
That's true, and maybe untrue for some. Depends on how you manage your life and how you see it and how you make this money. And I think also for some of them, like have a lot, they feel it's like a gift. And the gift to make money makes them happy. Like what they do makes them happy. But like you said, the more you have, the more you maybe need to take care of.
So you started your journey to discover something for yourself. What have you discovered in this journey for you?
I discovered that inside of every person, in one way you can call it, is a place where you're always safe and it's always peace. Complete silence, and from there, true joy, true creativity, and true expression into life arises. So it's a happy place for no reason. And to discover that is a great discovery. It's the greatest discovery you can do, because you can find out that why you want all these things outside, it will give you a feeling. And if you already have that feeling, it changes your perspective on life and your attitude to life when you already have what you're looking for.
What do you mean by a place?
Well, it's not concrete, so it's hard to explain because it's actually not a place. But inside of us, wherever that is, it is a place, but it's a placeless place, and it's a stateless place that is aware of this life. And it has no identification with the body or the mind.
So it's actually a manner of speaking,
Yes.
a place.
Yes.
But it's rather a state of mind or a state of soul or a feeling rather than a place.
Yes, it's just a word, and words can thousands of words can try to describe this place, and everybody actually know it when you point it out for them that this is the place. And then
you managed to just find yourself there suddenly, or it was a process?
For me, it was a process, but it also was a lack of knowledge to know that this is the place. Because people were talking about states, but it was always a mind and a body that was this state and this place. So it was also needed a unique knowledge to just understand this is the place and this is how simple it is. And then it's not that simple all the time, and then you start to discover it again and again. You let silence become a part of your life, and you find it and you visit it again, and in one way you bring this profound place or this profound feeling into your life.
But this doesn't necessarily change the challenges you have in your day-to-day life, the problems, the worries, or do they?
Oh, absolutely, they do. Because in this place, you have changed your relationship to the mind and the body. The thoughts. Everybody knows that if you have a problem in life, the thoughts tells you that you have a problem. If you're not that thought, or you have changed your relationship to that thought, you see life and perceive these thoughts, these thoughts creates feelings that says this is the reality now. But from this stillness that's beyond there, you have changed your relationship to this story. That means you change your relationship to the perspective of life.
And also with the persons, with the situations, you change everything because you are changed.
Yes, it changed everything because your attitude and your, in one way, acceptance to the flow of life has changed. So you perceive life and you perceive the others in a different way.
So you start healing or teaching people? What was the stages in your journey?
My stages was I started healing people. And I started healing people, and then I started teaching healing to people. And I did that in the mountains in Norway. And people from all kinds of places, and like doctors, psychologists, all kinds of people were coming. And I was surprised. And I gave them some simple but profound techniques how they could heal or let the energy flow into their mind and the body.
Sometimes you don't need to do anything. People think I should do this technique or this technique, but sometimes we are just blocking the healing powers of our being by trying to do specific things. Sometimes we just maybe relax or free our mind.
Yes, sometimes doing a technique can maybe take away what you're looking for, because the point is it's already here. Some techniques are profound. You have energy techniques that's very good for people, and people who do this every day, they feel good. But still, something for some of them are missing, because you come deeper into these places that try to discover that it's already here. So sometimes a technique can show you that you don't need a technique.
How did you get to Romania from Norway? Why are you here?
That's a good question. We were working in Norway, and we were in the mountains in Norway, and a woman that has, in one way, come from the Tibetan tradition, together with a businessman from Romania, came to the mountains. And she was in one way inviting me out to come out teaching abroad, outside of Norway. And this person at the same time said, do you want to come to Romania? So he did the invitation, and they both did the invitation.
Did you previously receive invitation in other countries, or is the first?
That was the first one. So we said, yes, let's go. Let's go. We were like, we can go. And now we've been here for a while.
When you say we, you have a team that...
Yes, so I work with one other person from Norway, and we also have a team in Romania we work with. That became a team in Romania.
Is it different? Are they different, the Romanians from Norwegians?
That's a good question. Yes and no, but when we come on a certain level, it's very few differences.
There are the same needs in human being, yes?
Yes, but also when you come to a certain place or a certain state of mind or a state of way of seeing things, it's very much similarities around the world. It's like it becomes a unity. The separation falls off, and you meet at the same level.
So you started to teach. Let's speak a little bit about your teachings and what you are trying to give to the people. What are your teachings about? What do you teach?
The teaching, it's about simple things, but unique knowledge. It's a unique knowledge that creates a unique experience that becomes a unique wisdom. And for things to be true for you, you have to have the knowledge and the experience. If not, it becomes just a philosophy. So I explain how the mind works and how we can perceive this silence. That's the most important thing in my teaching, is to find this stillness inside. That's where everything starts, and that's where everything ends.
So you are kind of a guide who helps people touch that state.
Yes. You can also call it a stateless state, but touch that placeless place. So when you find that, you start to see that the mind and the body start to relax, stress turns off, and a profound peace, a being of this moment start to arise. And some people think that this is just like an experience, but I tell them that this can be a continuous experience, expression of life, because it's you. So in one way, when you do this, it can arise this pure life force, energy, into your mind and your body.
I want to ask about your methods, making a kind of a comparison with other teachings, because I saw, for example, in Romania, many years ago, when the spirituality first arrived after the fall of the communism, that some masters, so to say, made their teachings in such a way that the students became kind of addicted to the master in a way, and needed his presence to feel that special feeling or state. Or are your students dependent on you to develop further, or in a certain level they can be independent?
That's a good question. And of course, some people at a certain time, if you want to learn to play football, you want to learn from a teacher or a trainer for a little while. Then you have to do your practice your own. And my work is, of course, to, as soon as or fast as possible, say, hey, you can do this yourself. Because if you're, and explain that this profound experience you have can be done everywhere, anywhere. And that's very important because today it's, and of course it has always been, it's very important that people become their own masters. So I encourage them to verify and question my teaching because they need to know themselves how this works. And it's very simple, but they need to do it. Now, when they do that, they don't need me. And that's the point. But of course, we are groups around in this country that meet because we have similar interests to meet and see this place together as well as on our own. So that's nice. But yes, I understand your question. And the answer is, as soon as possible, become your own master. That's the whole point of the whole spiritual journey.
Do your teachings have certain levels, like in certain spiritual way, for example, Reiki or others? There are some levels, 1, 2, 3, etc. How do you...
It doesn't have levels, but still it has level for the person in a process. But that's their level and how they see it. But my point is that you're already whole and complete. So why should you have levels? It means that if you need to fix something, let's say you are God's creation, source creation, you come from a higher intelligence, and you are, why should you not be perfect already? So people need to fix. When you start to fix something, you also start to feel like it's something wrong with me. But if you can see it from another perspective, is it true that it's something wrong with you? Because it's only a thought that says it's something wrong with you. And my question is, if you're not that thought, is it really something wrong with you? And when you're not that thought, peace arises and you feel love, whole and complete, and joy for no reason. So what's the problem now? Before the next thought comes and says, I'm not there, and it's something wrong with me. So the question is, if you're not that thought, who are you? You are peace and happy. Peaceful, happy.
I remembered now, speaking about these kind of levels in spiritual teachings, that I used to follow a teaching who used to have these levels. And they had a way to measure certain characteristics that a person have. And from level to level, the students have higher possibilities and characteristics, which were possible to be put in an objective way by a method. And I always asked, is the teachings that rise the students to a higher level? And for myself at least, I found to the answer that actually I allowed myself rationally to manifest on that level. But we are levelless, so to say, and only our mind needs a thought, concrete way to say, I can do this. For example, if I can make a jump for 1 meter, and you tell me you can do it now 2 meters, I believe you, and I jump 2 meters. But it's rather not that my possibilities have increased, but my mind allowed me to accept that I can do 2 meters and do it. What do you think?
I think that the mind is a beautiful instrument, And if you say something to the mind and it can complete it, you feel like you grow, and you feel also certain criteria for flow. That you have this, you can do this, and you see you can do it, and that feels that you grow. Now the question is, that's a beautiful way of learning something. Until you come to the place where, why do you need to do that to be levelless? But sometimes steps can be beautiful to see that you don't need steps anymore. Because you come to back to a complete truth, you're already whole and complete, you're already free. And if you're already free, you can stay here, and life's spontaneity starts to arise, and you start to act and live from there. That's where you feel completely free. You don't need to do anything to feel this, it's already there by itself. But sometimes the mind can enjoy having tasks it can overcome. It's pleasure for the mind.
I know that in your teachings there is a lot of interactivity and people ask a lot of questions. What kind of questions do they ask?
Oh, it can be all kinds of questions, but of course you come into, before they ask questions, I would like to present something about...
Give an introduction?
Yes, introduction about how this reality can be seen. And they can verify by these simple explanations if it's true or not, or if they can agree or not. And if they agree, we have a platform we can speak from. If they disagree, we can have a talk, questions around what do you disagree about, or not disagree. We can have a dialogue. It's not about right and wrong, it's how this can be seen. And now this question becomes, who am I? Who is the other? What is a feeling? What is emotional state? How can I see this? How can I act?
What is death? What is God?
Yes, all the stuff. Now the bigger question, who am I? Why am I here? What is God? What is death? Where do I come from? Where do I going? Why? What's the reason of life? And all these questions most people come to this place one time in their life or another. Is like, why am I here? What's the reason? I done everything, I did this, I done that, I'm a little exhausted, what's going on? What's the reason?
And do they find answers? Some
people find answers, and some people, when they come to this place, do not have answers. They can be very intelligent, they can be all this, but they don't find the answers because they accumulated certain state that repeats itself every day. So they kind of become destructive because life has no meaning.
To them.
To them. And then that's a state, and if you can go beyond there, you can see it differently.
What kind of people show to your teachings?
It's all kinds of people. It's business people, it's doctors, it's psychologists, it's coaches, it's healing therapists, it's Qigong masters, it's Tai Chi masters, it's yoga masters. So we have the full range, and you have the lawyers, whatever you have the people who works in the shop, you have the people who doesn't have a work, you have people, all kinds of people. I don't know what more to say. It's like a lot of people who wants to develop something or see something in a broader way or from a higher place. They even have priests and nuns.
Interesting.
Yes, it's interesting, and we have beautiful dialogues. This is no religion, it's so we can have dialogues about how things are perceived.
I know that apart from public conferences, you also have workshops and some retreats. I want to speak more about these retreats.
Yes?
What's the concept? What is happening there? What people are experiencing different from the conferences and so on?
The conferences is like a short introduction, and you can have you can taste experiences, and or you can experience what we're talking about, like a piece of a cake. In the retreats, it's more like here you have the whole cake and eat it and see what happens. That was maybe a bad example, because if you eat the whole cake, you feel like shit. But still, it's more like here, taste the whole thing, taste the whole idea on what you're gonna, what this is about. Here you go deeper. This is the stillness. This is the joy. This is the expressions, and you feel like a vibration, a pulsation of life, and you start to feel pure love.
So you choose a quiet place in the mountains or at the sea?
Yes. Sometimes by the sea, sometimes in the mountains, sometimes we have pure silent retreats, but in most cases we have people where you can have a dialogue. And in the room we have meditations, different energy techniques, but in most cases a dialogue on how this works and how this can be seen and how we experience this. And from this experience, this knowledge, we have a new dialogue.
And you watched people transform themselves during these retreats. What happens with them?
What happens is they find pure silence inside, peace. They become peaceful. And of course, when you become peaceful, it starts to arise, like I said, life force energy. You feel energized. And of course, that has a certain quality of intelligence, a certain quality of thinking. It also have a certain quality of creativity. Life becomes new. You start to see things in a different way every day. Some people also are challenged by their own beliefs and by their own how they live life until now. So sometimes it's not only a walk in the park, it's a walk in the park where you need to see, it starts to transform you. And transformation can sometimes be painful, but in most cases this pain can be transcended in a more easily way when you continue doing these exercises and you bring this knowledge and this experience with you home back from the retreat.
So I understood that your classes are people who are already familiarized with some spiritual technique, energetic techniques, but also people who comes from business and have no previous experience with this. And do they discover energy, new sensations, new feelings, these people? I think it's amazing to discover that energy is something that is as tangible as this table, I imagine.
Yes, they do. And of course, when you, when you can touch this stillness, this peace, and this energy, life starts to become new. And that means new thoughts, new feelings, new actions, new selves, new destiny.
Do people tell stories about how their lives changed after meeting you?
Yes, we get a lot of thank yous, blessings for sharing what we know. The beautiful thing is we are not doing anything for these people except sharing this knowledge. And when this knowledge can be attained, used, experienced, expressed, and they do it themselves, that's where the magic happens. And then they say thank you, and we say thank you back, because it's an honor and a pleasure to share something beautiful.
For example, do you know people who changed the relationships in their family, maybe, or in their business, turn out to a better ways because something changed in themselves, or maybe some killed themselves with some problems that they have?
Yes, of course, that's in one way a side effect. Because when you find out a place where you're already happy as you are, something needs to happen and something needs to change. And if that is a continuous process, it happens, changes. Yes, in business, in family, in relationship, in illnesses, in all kinds of areas where transformation or change needs to happen.
Is it difficult for you to live up to the expectations of the people? Because people perceived you as a master and have some expectations about what the master should be, how he should live. They want to see you levitate maybe or something. Is it a pressure?
It could be a pressure, and also it has to do with an honesty about who I am or what I express, and especially how I express life or express what I know.
Because I know you don't position yourself as a superior man who is above regular aspects of life. You present yourself as a simple man, so to say, as Jesus Christ presents himself as a simple man. Very speaking simple with people and sitting with people, eating, drinking. He said, I'm here with you, eating and drinking. What would you say about me to the priests?
Yes, that's true, and that's how, in one way, it felt natural for me to present this. And of course, it's no separation. If it's no separation in the highest level, I'm not better than you, and you are not better than me. It's no separation. I'm not before you, you're not before me. We are equal, and we live in this world, and I don't live in the mountains anymore, I live here. So I eat food, I drink, I have fun, I meet people, tea, coffee, so I live a life.
A normal life, in a way.
Yeah, in one way a normal life. I'm not sure if everybody will call it a normal life, but still, yes, I'm a normal person.
Do you have a special kind of regime in what you eat, what you drink, when you sleep? Do you have some hours of sleeping?
No, actually not. It's more like I see this like the spirituality is a freedom. Like freedom is like being a child. That why do you play? It happens when it happens. You do it when you do it. But sometimes it's like, of course, some food leads to more pleasure in the mind and the body. Some drinks leads to more pleasure in the mind and the body. Sleep is important. But these things, in one way, falls naturally. It feels naturally to take care of yourself and love yourself. But it's no regime.
So you don't have a strict discipline?
No. It's more like I don't have a strict discipline, and it's more like when you start to see what I'm talking about. People meditate, and why do you meditate? To be here in this moment, to live here, to be peaceful, joyful, feel good, not not too many thoughts that come to agitate the mind and the body. So when you come to a certain place, and this place, and in one way you meditate on that. That's the technique, or that's what people do. But after a little while, it starts to change. This starts to meditate on you. You meditate on this, and this starts to meditate on you. So meditation starts to just appear whenever it appears in life, in the expressions of drinking a coffee or wherever you are. And you start to recognize this, and you start to free yourself of all the technique needed to meditate, to be here and now. again, that comes from a certain knowledge that becomes an experience and a wisdom and a choice you take every moment.
Speaking about the meditation, is this a quantitative or qualitative process? Because from readings from ancient times, people were sitting in caves for hours, days, months, years. How do you perceive this?
I perceive these techniques of meditation as something very beautiful. And it's in a certain time, it can be a very good practice to understand what I'm talking about. Still, the thing is also to be free of the meditation and understand and discover that the meditation is life. And that's a beautiful discovery. You start to see that meditation can be in all kinds of situations. It can be everywhere. Like this high level of thinking, this high level of creativity, this high level of flow, this high level of energy can be anywhere, everywhere, with the eyes open, eyes closed, in a cave or not. It can be anywhere.
So you don't need 3 hours to meditate. You can have 3 minutes.
Yes, you can have 3 minutes, but 3 hours is also a profound experience to have for certain people. That's why we have retreats. To have this deepening into the place where you see the meditation can happen everywhere.
Do you think the place itself has a power or a special energy that helps people sometimes? Or is just the psychological thought, idea that you are away from the regular places and day-to-day worries and you feel better because of that?
That's a good, it's a good one. You see, or I don't even know how to answer that, but this is this place of silence. It's not some escape. It's here in this moment, and in this moment you change the relationship to the mind and the body, and it's one with the mind and the body. So in one way you transcend the mind and the body, but still the mind and the body is there. But now this profound intelligence, this expression of this placeless place, this silence, this peace, becomes the mind and the body. It's like it becomes this profound intelligence. And when you start to ask deeper questions, like you asked before, like what do people ask? What is this place? It's a place, it's a placeless place, it's all potentials, unmanifest. What is it? Where does the thought come from? It's a place, thoughts come from no place, becomes something and goes away. Where does it go? Where does it come from? Where does everything come from? And now you ask the bigger questions. And this placeless place is you. If you're not your story, your thoughts, your feelings, you're beyond there. So it's the intelligence of this universe.
So actually, one of the things that you do is help people live in the present, because we usually live in our past with our regrets or whatever, or in the future of what we want in life, but we are not present now, here, in the moment.
That's true. And that's through, like I said again, profound knowledge and experience. You see that this is the place to live. But now it becomes, in a way, more and more natural to live here, because the mind rests here. It thinks differently here. It feels differently here. Everything changes here. So it comes naturally, more and more.
What criteria do you use when you choose a place for a retreat?
In most places, I like it to be in the nature. Because in one way, nature reflects some good parts in the silence of the mind, the body. We can relax, we can be here and now. I also had it in the beach, where people go on the beach and, you know, swim and do their stuff and come back, and we do the work after the beach.
So do you have also some fun, or is just work, work, work in this retreat?
Doing this doing these exercises, doing these dialogues, it's inspiration, it's fun. Sometimes it's hard, but in most cases, yes, we have fun. It's about fun.
Because sometimes people likes to have a fire and sit around it with a guitar, maybe sing something. Do you do such stuff?
Yes, I think that happens. But it's nothing planned like, let's do this, but it's more like you meet people, have the same like, let's find out of this, let's see this. And you have dialogues about life, certain things, maybe a fire, maybe people go for walks or talks or whatever.
And you create communities. People know other people who have similar interests, thoughts, ideas.
Yes, it's like a community, but it's more like, it's nothing like, people come to these places and they have dialogues, they talk, they become friends, of course. And in one way it's kind of natural. If you have one interest, it's like the most important thing in your life is your quality of your consciousness. And that's the purpose people are there, because the quality of your consciousness equals the quality of your life. And that's what they have a dialogue about. And that's where people in all of Romania, some people come up from abroad, has in common when they meet. And it's like people play football, like to play football with other people who like to play football. This is a different way. It's more like, what's the most important thing in life? Quality of your consciousness. Let's have a dialogue.
Do you recommend any readings or movies for people to read or watch that you think have value, and it's in a way in the same direction as your teachings?
Yes, you can watch my video, The Map of Reality. It's on my webpage. So, in one way, I don't think I have any books or videos now, but this is what we're talking about, so that's the map of reality, where I'll explain the unique knowledge in a short way, maybe in a little crazy way, but short way.
So who are you, Rune? At the end of our dialogue.
That's a good question. Well, if I'm not my thoughts, because for the thoughts to exist, something needs to be aware of it. And that's the same for you and for everyone. And if I'm not that, I'm not the body, because the body is molecule, atoms, particles, waves. You don't find me. So when you look at me and I look at you, and we don't think each other, but we see ourselves directly. That's who I am and that's who you are in the essence. And then you have to find out yourself.
Thank you very much, Rune, for this wonderful dialogue.
Thank you very much.
And we look forward to see you again. And we hope we will have you regularly on Canal 33.
Yes, so let's see. Thank you.
Thank you.
Been a pleasure to be here.